One Piece fans, I owe you an apology. Let me do this in proper YouTuber apology video fashion. I wanted to do this right. I am behind. I wasn't able to get through the next One Piece arc, and I sincerely apologize. It's a lot, and I'm trying to keep up with my other reading as well. People want Iron Gold, Hyperion, and all these other thickum fantasy sci-fi book reviews from me, and I'm trying to keep One Piece in the crowd without it taking over, and I just couldn't get it this week. I'm sorry. But what I figured I could do instead was start a series whenever I happen upon a week where I'm unable to bring you the next arc review, where instead I can do a tier list of everything I've consumed so far, characters to arcs, and tier them on out for you all to get irrationally angry about my subjective opinion and scream at me in the comment section about it. And that's what I'm here to do for you. So this will be something I come back and update periodically here on the channel, which I think is just gonna be some fun. Assuming this video does some kind of well. If it doesn't, I probably won't ever do this again. So leave a like and subscribe if you want it to be continued and more.
Immediate hindsight criticism thought of myself. I wish I'd included side characters, because the side characters of One Piece are very often like solid enough to have their own like plots, storylines that are completely worth like critical analysis because they're so well fleshed out and realized character to narratively, and so I regret not including them. That will definitely be a thing in the next one.
But without any further ado, let's start tier ranking the crew and arcs of One Piece up through G8, because that is where I have officially reviewed to. Let's get going. So we're gonna start with the crew and how I'm feeling about the crew so far in my hindsight review thoughts. Nami was an early high riser. I really enjoyed her contributions and presence in the crew through East Blue and even the second one. But then she started to fall off a bit, and she just hasn't been as agency-filled or charismatic, honestly, in Sky Island and G8. I had some pushback on that, but hey, that was my experience with it, especially in G8. She just kind of seemed to be bouncing around, and while she did provide some great solid moments, I'm wanting more from a character that I really do care about. But right now, she's gonna sit in B as of finishing G8. Then we have Robin, who has been someone I did not think I would like that much, but skyrocketed to fairly high rankings amongst the crew because she is super interesting whenever she does have something to contribute. She just drops like these cold-blooded lines every now and then. She just hovers in the background and waits for her moment and delivers a killer line. I enjoy that. She's also very different tonally than a lot of the rest of the crew, and I like that juxtaposition. It could be overwhelming without her, so she serves a very solid purpose, and her powers are awesome. Really dig that. So she's gonna be a solid A and maybe the top of A. Then we have Zoro, who's fantastic as well. I mean, he's like the most motivated man on the planet, and I really enjoy where he's going. He hasn't had the most development as a character, but he's sitting within what he is so solidly and consistently that I just am looking forward to when the narrative decides to pick him up and develop him a tremendous amount more. Prediction moment, I'm gonna try and sprinkle these throughout. I think Zoro will have his next big growth and development whenever they decide to bring back in the world's greatest swordsman for him to go up against. Probably pretty obvious prediction there, but that's my next prediction, which I feel like we will have in the future soon. But even without that happening to him recently in the last arc I read particularly, I'm just gonna leave him in A because he has such a solid relationship with everyone amongst the crew, and the relationship building is really fundamental to like how I feel about everyone. It's actually another reason why Robin came so high up, because she just immediately started building chemistry and dynamics with just about everybody. Then we have the Luffster, and how can Luffy not be S? As I have said, Luffy is like certain natural occurring things within our planet. He's a force of nature, and I think he is the heart and soul of One Piece, and that's not going to be controversial. There has been something about him sticking in my head that I couldn't shake. He breaks the fourth wall in G8. There's just this moment where he aggressively breaks the fourth wall, and I'm sitting here like, have I been missing that happening? Why did this happen And now, is this does that happen a lot? And I've just been missing like small fourth wall breaks from Luffy? Because he definitely is doing that right here. I'm confused. That's not a big character thing, but I love him. He's by far the best source of comedy in the show. He's got so much personality and charisma, and he has subtly developed slightly as the series goes on. He is very himself. He's not changing fundamentally as a character, but his focus and drive is becoming better realized. And then we have the ship itself, the Going Merry. I really love this ship. It's cute. It's a cute little ship that I deeply enjoy, and I'm just gonna put it right in the B, because it's cute, it's adorable, it's our home with the crew, and I love it. Usopp. Everyone tells me I will love you one day. Everyone. And so far in the arc I'm reading, I won't get into spoilers, he's doing better. He's doing better. So I'm gonna leave you in C, with the note you could rise higher or fall back down into D. I'm putting you in the sea of suspension, and we'll see how this goes for you. I'll update you once I get into the Water 7 arc review. That's what it's called, yes. Sanji. I think this might surprise people. I'm not the biggest fan of Sanji outside of his relationship with some members of the crew. I think him and Luffy are funny together, especially in G8 they shined. Like, he's not bad, but then he's just also the source of tremendous cringe at times, and so I'm kind of like constantly shifting up and down with Sanji. I'm just not sure where he goes. So I'm just gonna leave him below the ship, and I'm curious to see how I'll continue to grow and develop, because I still know I'm early on in this series, and all of this could shift around and change. You have to put yourself in the mindset of where you were in your first read through at this point. Connect with me here. Work with me, please. And I'm trying to gauge not only how these characters have behaved and the purpose they serve now, but where they can go. And Sanji's the biggest question mark, actually, for me. I really don't know how his character is going to develop, if it does significantly at all. And then Chopper. Chopper's great. I love him. He hasn't had like a tremendous narrative focus on him yet, but he's like the best supporter who often will have these like side plots that are pretty great for him. And he's cute. He's kind. He got a good relationship with everybody. No one can be mad at him. Like, he's just okay, he's not a teddy bear. He's a reindeer, and don't you fucking forget it. But I'm actually going to put him just below Zoro. I think he is... do I want to put him above Zoro? No. I can't put him above Zoro. So now let's go ahead and get into the arcs. First, we have East Blue, which maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's the circumstance around this. I went into East Blue with rock bottom expectations, because not only was I not willing to admit that I am a weebums, but the fans themselves kept telling me East Blue's not good, it will improve from there. East Blue was fine. It's definitely not the best arc I've come across, but it was a very solid start. Like, if you can fans, One Piece fans, if you continually tell people the first arc is terrible, you're not doing the first arc justice. It's a perfectly fun, fine introduction, and anyone who's aware of storytelling knows introductory stories like this have additional baggage to carry, and so they're not going to be as adventurous and flexible as later on stuff, but being the introduction that had to carry so much weight, East Blue's pretty damn good, and I'm tired of the slander. It's going solid B here. I'm going to put East Blue right there. It's kind of separate from the characters, but I'm just compare characters to characters and arcs to arcs within the rankings, I guess. I don't know why I'm putting... Then we have... Is it Arlong? Why can't I say this? Fine. God, I was saying that wrong. Not Arlong. That's a saga. I'm talking about an arc. Arabasta. Jesus. Now we have Arabasta, which is when everything escalated and became more interesting. I definitely liked it more than East Blue. I did have some problems with it, if you want to check out my review, of course, there. But it was still a step up from East Blue. They gave us Robin, even though her character wasn't really defined or developed here outside of her just Miss Sunday persona at the time.
I also want to interject another prediction I had by the end of this arc that I still think might be true. With how the villains are presented and challenge our crew, it's going to be interesting to see how this series continues to power escalate. Like, we went from here to Sky Island where there was like a god arguably as the enemy, and I think eventually a prediction I'm going to have is I am going to start criticizing how power is handled within One Piece more and more, because in G8 especially, we saw our crew, in my opinion, significantly nerfed. So my prediction is a critical one, and that's that One Piece, from my subjective opinion, is going to start struggling with power levels a bit.
And it definitely solidified these characters for me by this point. By the time I was done with Arabasta, I was solidified with the One Piece crew and my opinions on them for where they stood, focused on developing the entire Straw Hat crew in a way that not only shored up some of the weaker spots from East Blue, but prepared me and raised my expectations for how well One Piece was going to handle and craft its characters throughout. I mean, dear God, it was just so much fun seeing these people struggle and thrive, and there was especially attention paid to Luffy, which needed to be done because in East Blue, he really kind of just felt like this chaotic, crazy force, which I was fine with the absurdism that was there, but really Arabasta is where he became more human in a way because of his failures here and the just insane lengths he was willing to go for his friends. Him climbing that mountain to get medicine for someone and then meeting Chopper is going to be a beat of One Piece that is stuck in my head forever. And so I'm going to go ahead and put Arabasta probably low A for now. And then we have Sky Island, which, if you watched my review on it, I had flaws with it, but it's definitely the best arc I've come across so far. This is S tier. There was less nuanced character work, but because of what was done in Arabasta, it didn't necessarily need to be there. I thought Nami was a bit neglected. Some people disagree with me on that. That's fine. And there was some inconsistency with character and pacing, but that's it in terms of flaws. Overall, wow, I loved the narrative itself. The world building went above and beyond the already great examples of what we had from the previous arcs. And this is kind of the one that solidified One Piece as probably being in my top 5 to 10 fantasy worlds of all time. Sky Island is such a cool concept. The consistency that was managed with the differentiation of setting was extraordinary. The putting in a villain who felt so evil and purpose-filled, but also provided a greater gateway into threats to come and possibilities of powers here. Whoo! All of it. Very nice.
Final prediction for this video, I also believe that Luffy's biggest antagonist throughout the entirety of One Piece is going to be some combination of being a pirate, wanting to live this life, and the moral conflict that's going to emerge with some of the darker sides of pirating. We've seen some hints towards this already, I think, but I am feeling in my gut at this point we're going to get deeper into that, and it's going to become a really big part of this, because with these other pirates that are being built up that seem like much more shady figures than Luffy is, I'm feeling like he's going to struggle with that, because he loves the adventurous, wondrous side, but being a pirate has some ramifications as well.
It wasn't flawless, but in terms of enjoyment, probably a 9.5 out of 10 for me. Like, I had a great time with Sky Island, and this face glued into my head till I die. And it gave me my first actual fist-pumping moment for One Piece, and that was watching the orb and the hit. It felt really good. And my first out loud, just full-on belly laugh, like, how did I not see that coming? Ha ha ha, Rubber Man, no shocky. That felt stupid and laughed really hard. And then finally, we have G8, which is a filler arc, and because of that, once again, my expectations dropped, because people were saying, hey, it's the best filler arc, you should check it out. It is still a filler arc, though, and I was like, hey, all right, I'll check out this filler arc, but I kind of like brought my expectations down to where they were for East Blue, because filler arcs, as I said in my review, are extraordinarily narratively constrained because you essentially have to reset, but One Piece for its focus, made a great decision to not narratively try and do much with the characters, but instead kind of focus on the world building of the other side, the people going against them, the Marines, and then also have some establishment of how the Straw Hat crew is viewed from the outside world, which is not something we gotten super in depth up to this point. And it was fascinating. There was also great comedy throughout this whole thing. I was laughing consistently throughout G8. Yeah, I significantly enjoyed this. It actually pushed me. I kind of been doing like mostly manga and then some anime throughout all of this, just kind of bouncing back and forth. But now G8 has pushed me to wanting to watch the anime more heavily because it was just so much fun and energetic to see the characters brought to life in this way. So G8 for me, no, it's not as good as Arabasta. No, it's not as, nuanced or fulfilling in that way. But in terms of enjoyment, which this is a purely enjoyment tier list, I'm gonna put it above East Blue. You're gonna think I'm crazy. I'm saying that because of how much I was pleasantly surprised, and getting that pleasant level of surprise of it being damn good when I'd already had it once with East Blue just like compounded the enjoyment and surprise of it. I liked seeing that the bad guys, or actually the antagonists of this arc, were our crew, but then the people they were going up against weren't one note. There was a lot of depth and building to the political dynamics, and I really liked it. And sue me if you disagree. I think it's better than East Blue for my own personal enjoyment. But this is my tier list of One Piece today. I hope it's not offensive. No, I do hope it's offensive. Fight me. Fight me in the comments. I see what people are saying about Usopp right now. I'm keeping an open mind, but I will not let you sway me. It's going to be about the experience of the story. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. And have a good one, y'all. Peace.